first of all, it's an honour and a pleasure to be here, and it's my first time to the circuit and my first time to ride such good bikes, and it's been a long time, and I think it's been an interesting test because I've ridden some of the weakest ones to the strongest ones today, and I think it's been a really interesting test because some I think have a long way to go, and some have surprised me how good they are. Some of them are as good and even better than my Grand Prix bike back from, in the 80s and the early 90s. So that's how far street bikes have come in a very short period. One that stood out in particular for sharp and accurate steering and a bit like a Grand Prix bike was the Aprilia. I mean, in summary, that was the best bike today because it was very precise, point, squirt, good power. I wouldn't say the fastest power, but it certainly had the most directional and confidence-inspiring chassis, and gives very good feedback for the tyres on the road. That's what I thought was probably the summary and the best bike of the day. Down to, and it comes in various levels. I mean, testing all these bikes is like having 7 different wives in one day. It's an interesting, they're all got different personalities and different characters, and down to some of the weaker ones that were quite a handful to hang on. And for me, and the big surprise was probably the Yamaha. I was expecting a lot more of it. It's probably got the best and the strongest engine, but to get that bike around the corner really surprised me today, and I think that it really emphasises how good Ben Spies is on how to ride that thing. So he's done a wonderful job this year, and I believe he's won on not the best bike, and so I think it really is testament of his ability. I really enjoyed being here at Portimao. It's I've heard a lot about it, and it's lived up to its reputation. For me, it's a bit like my British days racing. It's a cross between Brands Hatch, like the last corner here coming on the start and finish. It's a bit like Oulton Park, it's a bit like Cadwell Park. There's a few British racetracks out there that's kind of like a mix of the two. It's a lot of fun because of ups and downs, but the difficulty of this track is trying to get off the corners and trying to keep the front wheel down. You're really trying to get over the front of the bike all the time. But it certainly makes it very interesting, and it's always hard to remember actually where the track goes each lap. Even though you do lots of them, there's never enough to sort of totally give you the confidence you know where you're going. But I really loved it. The facilities around here, the garages, the grandstands, everything here is of top-notch quality, and I think that Portugal as a state have done a fantastic job with this this circuit here, and it's certainly right up there with one of the best. But interesting, one of the best bikes around here, I was just thinking about the ups and the downs, is the Ducati. The Ducati's a lot of fun because of its big V-twin power and its tractable power, and that's a fun bike here at this track. Well, Ben Spies is an interesting case. I had quite a long chat with him today and asked him about his history and where he's come from, and he's a lot more technical minded than I was expecting, and he understands very well what's happening out there on the bike. He understands the corners, the turning, the point of feeling, trying to get grip, and because I was really interested in how he can ride this bike so well, and so I think he's got a very good head on his shoulders for a young lad, and I think he's obviously got the right experience, and I just hope that his team give him the right package around him and understand what he wants. But he's certainly very good at explaining it, and that's half the battle. I think he's got a very bright future. A lot of guys haven't survived and haven't done very well out of Superbike 2 GPs, and I think for Ben to come in here and just do bang, 1 year, win it and get out of here, I think it's really important for him, and he's certainly done that in fine fashion, and I think that listening to him today, I think he's going to do very well, and I'll be watching him with a lot of interest. Well, it was very interesting. I enjoyed watching the talent of the young talent of this category, And certainly Ray he's a real talent, and he also makes time in the right places. So he's got a very good head on his shoulders for a young kid. So I hope next year he's going to step up, and I think that he's certainly in with a good chance of being a world champion next year. But in saying that, I hope he doesn't hang around here too long, because I think he's too good of a talent. I'd like to see him in Grand Prix as well. And saying that, this is a great breeding ground for future champions, and it's good to see more guys come through. Fabrizio, very fast, very talented, but he's a bit hot-headed, you know, at this point in time, and I think that he needs to go and have a cold shower on a few of his decisions. And but he's certainly good. He just needs to use a bit more brain power on some of the silly moves he's done in the past. So certainly good, and certainly someone of the future to watch.